Evening again, ladies and gentlemen. I
Good
want to
evening.
welcome you back to the
Guys, we're
last
going
part.
live in a few seconds now.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our session this evening. And we are on Facebook Live as well. Welcome to all of our guests on this session. And I want to thank Coach D for being here. This is the final session, the final session in a five-part series. We went through several topics in the last four sessions. Coach D, being a little bit more, just a little bit more handsome than me, handled three sessions, and I handled two. And of course, we're in the final lap in this five session series. This evening, Coach D, we're going to be talking about the what of leadership. What should you look for when identifying potential leaders in an organization, in any organization?
That's
Okay,
right, Chris.
so with that, I will turn it over to you, Coach D. Really looking forward to getting some golden nuggets this evening. Take it away; it's all yours. Let's give Coach D a hand.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for all being here tonight. Yeah, I want to welcome you guys back to the last part of our three-part series of the question of leadership. So, those of you in Malaysia, I really want to, I hope this MCO 2.0 is finding you and your family safe and sound and happy tonight. Okay. So tonight we will be talking about the what of leadership. We will talk on what good leaders should do to improve a company's success. And that could mean increasing the bottom line. It could mean creating a great culture or a place where people work and grow. But whatever your definition of success means to you, the leader. Now, if we were to try to grasp leadership in one book or webinar, I think it would be one big book and one long ass webinar. And you know what? It still won't be enough. you know. Um, so when I speak about leadership, people fall asleep or they think, oh, okay, it has nothing to do with me, right? They already know it, right? But do we really? I mean, many people probably think leadership, it's not about them, right? It's not what they do. It's not their job to be a leader. Or maybe some feel that they don't want the responsibility of being a leader, which is cool. Okay. But for those who feel that it's not their thing or what they do, you could not be more mistaken, right? Because the best definition of leadership is the act of motivating other people toward a common goal. It's about being responsible for those under you as well as around you. And now some of you may think, hey, wait a minute, this is just a job. Well, I don't know. You could say leadership is a place of authority in a company as well in the city or in a country. And then there are leaders who inspire, empower, and lead from the front. Now, if you're a parent, you are a leader. Okay. I don't know. It doesn't matter what you feel, but you are a leader, right? Does that make sense, people? Right? Just okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So there are leaders, and there are people who lead. So what type of leader do you aspire to be? Right? Whether you're a parent, a business owner, or someone who is working as a team in a corporation. And I could tell you, if you had led from a position, it would only get you and your team so far. Now, if you lead from a position of inspiration, empowerment, and care, you, your team, and your company will go a lot further as well as longer. Right? So many in leadership today are entrepreneurs who are one or more person shows, right? Therefore, there's a lot of hats to wear, and we get that, right? Many may work in a company, but don't really plan to stay. They hope they can stay until something better comes along. But remember, right? Hoping is not a plan nor a strategy. So, what's your intention for the company you own or work in? Is it to have a job for now, create some form of income for now, or do you have a bigger, longer vision for yourself in mind? If it's just for a job, well, you still need to take time to learn about some leadership skills like leading yourself. But if it's the latter, having a longer vision, there is help. People that have leadership skills showcase a strong personality and interpersonal skill to lead others towards a vision or a goal. So, why is leadership such an important skill? It's because leaders inspire others to follow a certain path in work as well in life. They are those who crave a good leader that can help them move ahead in their lives or careers. And remember, folks, if we're not moving forward, we are unintentionally falling behind. I truly believe without leadership, it's very difficult to manage ourselves or a few people or groups of people and set unified goals and make progress for a business to sustain for more than a few years. So, what should a leader do? Leaders have to help their team and organizations make progress and act in a proper way as they go. Good leadership clarify a vision, set clear goals, directions, and map a dynamic path for their team or group. What makes a good leader or manager? While a leader is simply a figurehead, a manager should exhibit the right leadership skills to motivate the teams to work harder and get projects done faster. So good managers need to be empathetic, exhibit the behavior they want from their team, and take responsibility for their actions, delegate effectively, and give praise and acknowledgement when needed. The the most important quality, I think, is to truly understand each team member on a personal level so that they can understand the motivation that dictates their work ethics, right? I believe that a dream or hope doesn't build or scale a business. I really don't. I believe your team does. And the potential success of your company really depends on the right team, right? So, how do we get that from our team? And that is discussion for tonight, right? So, what are you doing as a leader? What are you hiring for? And what do you do to grow your people? And the outcome could be good, or it could be bad. It's up to you, right? So, if you're faced with the following needs, hang on. We have a bunch to share today because when a leader is better, everything else in the company is better. Okay, now leadership matters. You know why? Because the average lifespan of today's multinational companies, and we're talking about Fortune 500 size companies here, is only 40 to 50 years. So for anyone in leadership at a corporation of any size, this should be scary. That means that the company you're tasked with leading has a 50-50 shot at making it past what we humans consider middle age. And a further sobering statistic tells us that 50% of the Fortune 500s from 1999 has disappeared from the list just 10 years later. So what? 1999 was there, and then 2009, they're gone. And we're talking about big companies here, right? Not let alone these little guys that, the smaller ones, right? And according to business stats, a study showed that 30% of small businesses fail in the first year. 50% fail in around 2 years, and only a third of those lasted 10 years. So, how long do you want your business to succeed and last? Now, is leadership the one and all in business success? No, of course not. But it does take good leadership to understand that with good strategy and market understanding, you can lead your team to achieve the goals of these strategies. So, some things you might need to look out for as a leader is having the right strategic vision. In addition to anticipating what your customers are going to want, you need to define the depth and scope of changes and redesign your internal processes and broader ecosystem. Who is going to do that? Huh? You can't expect your secretary to do that. So number two is to execute the transformation. More than half of all companies undertaking transformation will fail to achieve their desired outcomes. Is your IT tech going to do that? I don't think so. And number three is you need to be aware of those leaders or people that maybe you who are clinging to past or current successes, right? This is like a hypnotic siren song of the status quo. Transformation needs to be continuous. It needs to be never-ending process rather than a distinct event. And this is where most leaders and businesses owners are here today. So what is a leader to do? What is it that your people want? Leaders need to be inspiring, empowering, and firm leader your people want and need you to be. What the leader needs to do? They need to first lead themselves, right? They have to lead others, not from authority, but from openness and accepting feedback. Leaders need to have a good self awareness and be open to feedback and do something with it, not just say, okay, yeah, I heard you, and then let it go, right? And you don't do nothing, you don't change, you don't make an effort to change, right? So it's like talking to a wall. You need to be an approachable leader who can touch the hearts of team members before touching their abilities. They need to be a leader that want to follow, right? Not to have to follow because of a position. People want to work at a place where they can grow and where they want to come to work. Can you imagine having a bunch of staff that want to come to work? Or would you rather have a bunch of people who say like, well, yeah, we got to go to work again. It's like a punishment, right? They should be constantly growing just like their team members as well as their company. Remember, we spoke about this in, I think it was part three. Yes, part three. How companies can outgrow their leaders. Now, according to an IBM study of 1,700 CEOs in 64 countries, one of the top three qualities a leader can possess is the ability to inspire people to action. Employees who work for an inspiring leader, they're enthused, they're encouraged, energized, motivated, engaged, and they feel appreciated. They believe that what they do matters and that they're making a difference. And believe it or not, it's also an area where many leaders have room to improve in. Okay. Sometimes leaders are busy. We get that. We understand. But sometimes they have to remember, we can't be in a position of leadership and hope that things will be okay, right? A research by the Bain Company revealed that there are 33 main traits that inspirational leaders have. You won't find a leader who has all 33 traits, but these 33 traits were the most mentioned when they were interviewed 2,000 employees and asked them what makes for an inspiring leader. So in case someone who hasn't heard about the Bain Company, they are one of the big three management consultancies in the world, right? And their headquarters is based in Boston, Massachusetts. And so some of the traits mentioned in their research, um, I think we mentioned them in part three as well, right? So, but here's just a few. As you can see here, we have communication, we have integrity, self-awareness, humility, resilience. I'm not going to go through each one again because I think we did it last time, right? So, but I want to just mention again resilience, right? It's not just talking about doing things good during good times, right? It's ready to be able to get up and get dirty as a leader. Okay, so can we get it all? Nah, of course not, right? But even if you can get 3 to 5 of these traits now, you're definitely on the right track to growing to be a leader people want to follow. Now, the benefit to the team and the company is that employees who describe themselves as inspired are more, okay, not twice, but more than twice as productive as employees who call themselves satisfied. When they are inspired, you will see lower turnover, higher job satisfaction, more productivity, and increased loyalty. And I think that's very, very important nowadays because people can just leave because they're getting a better salary. So, hiring, before we get into hiring, I just want to say this, all right? Always promote within whenever possible. Let your people know that there's a career path and a growth for them in the company. Now, unless, okay, you need to use new technology that has a deep learning curve. Excuse me. So, what happened? All right.
You okay
Okay.
there, Coach D?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so that has a deep learning curve. So you don't want to hire, so hire outside. You're probably going to need to do that, right? Especially with today's like social media, so big in part of our businesses and personal lives. Maybe your team needs someone just to manage your social media activities, right? And one interesting point to note is this, right? Most of the disruptors, when we talk about disruptors, we're talking about, people who came out of nowhere and all of a sudden their business boom, right? So most of the disruptors today weren't even from the same industry they disrupted. Like Netflix didn't create Hollywood, right? Airbnb wasn't founded by Hilton Hotel or Hilton Enterprises, right? Was the folks that started Uber taxi drivers? No, not at all. So you see what I mean? So sometimes hiring from outside can be helpful to get a good perspective on things, right? So if your number two, you want to hire outside if your culture may be corrosive, right? There may be friction within team members, or maybe you just need a new set of eyes, right? New blood to get a different perspective on things to change things around. See, the problem with long-term team members is they don't want to rock the boat, right? They feel nothing's going to happen anyway. So why bother to speak up? Or maybe they don't feel appreciated or acknowledged when they give good ideas. So many times they're afraid to speak up. Or maybe they feel if they initiate it, they got to do more work, right? So now I want to ask you, when employees, I'm gonna ask everybody now, okay? I hope you get unmic and answer, right? I would like to ask you two questions, right? If that's okay. Okay. So it's a very whose fault is that if a staff they feel that nothing's gonna happen anyway, why bother speaking up? They don't feel appreciated or acknowledged when they give good ideas, or maybe they feel if they initiate it, they must do more. I want to ask everybody here, whose fault is that if they feel and if an employee feels this way? Does anybody have an idea?
Leader,
Who is that?
leader's fault.
Right. Who is that? I can't see
Frank.
everybody.
Yeah, Frank.
Frank. Okay, Frank. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's the leader's fault. If you have a staff member that is afraid to speak up, they're afraid to rock the boat because somebody's going to get upset. They feel that nothing's going to happen anyway, so they don't bother speaking up because nothing gets done, right? So of course, this all comes down to having a leader. So it doesn't matter if you have a great strategy, you have a great product, right? If your people aren't there to move it for you, it doesn't matter, right? Okay. So, you know, when we talk about promoting within, right? We talk about promoting within. It's very common for high performers to get promoted to a team leader, right? So earlier we just talked about hiring from outside, right? So now when we talk about promoted from within, right? Automatically high performers usually get promoted to a team leader position, right? I mean, he or she, well, let's say they're familiar with their accounting software. They always submit their reports on time. They're great team players. They're fun, and they go, okay, yeah, this is a good fit for us. This is what we want to. She's a nice person. He's a nice person. Let's promote them, right? But realize this that performance does not equal potential. Okay, I've seen this happen so many times in companies, so I need to say it here and now. High performers may not be good leaders. Okay, so I want to share a soccer analogy with you. Okay, and after this, I want to ask you a question. I want to hear some input on it, right? So here it is: a professional soccer player named A tells his teammate B. He says, "Hey, the season is ending. I haven't made a goal all year." So he says to B, "Hey, can you pass me the ball to score?" So as they're playing, the score is 0-0. B has the ball. A is open, but B can score now. My question to you is, what would you do if you were B? And this, the ladies can answer this as well, okay? Nobody? Nobody wants to take a chance?
I think I will score. If I'm B, I will score at the ball.
Right, okay, you would score the ball. All right, so now notice, okay, there's a difference between a team player and a leader. As Frank mentioned, he would score, which would be the right thing to do because it would be for the team. Now, as a good team player, yeah, he would have been a good, he's like, oh yeah, if he would have passed the ball to A was, hey, thanks a lot for giving me that, right? But what if he missed, right? If B had an opportunity to score right there and he didn't take it, he would not be responsible, right? Now, his team A may go like, hey, well, why you got to be an a-hole for? Why didn't you pass me the ball, right? But that's not the point, right? As a leader, you need to be able to take that criticism. You have to see what's good for the team, not what's good for your teammate. So there is a difference, right? Thank you, Frank. And according to the Peter Principle, which is a concept in management developed by Lawrence J. Peter, which observes people in a hierarchy that tend to rise to the level of incompetence, not competence, right? A level of incompetence. So what that means is employees are promoted, right, based on their success in a previous position until they reach a level at which they're no longer competent because skills in one job do not necessarily translate to another. So how long do you think this candidate will last in the new position? That really depends on what it entails, right? Right. So if he's in a leadership position, of course, he's going to have to be able to lead. Now, if you don't use him, you're wasting your money. If you fire him, you're going to waste more money. So you're going to have to choose your poison. That's why it's important when you hire, make sure you hire right. So let's say a trainer, right? You have a training company, he's capable of handling 100 attendees at one time by themselves. Now, what happens when the team grows to 200? Or which was expected, right? Because they knew the team was going to grow. Is he able to handle it, right? So do you fire and rehire, or you have to hire 2 attendees? Okay, so you have to remember that when you hire, you have to be prepared to make sure what exactly are you looking for. Don't hire just because you need to fill that space. All right. So next, you need to be relentless when hiring outside. Like I just mentioned, we all understand the cost of a bad hire, especially today, where there are so many candidates abound. You need to be specific in what you're looking for, including the future, right? So if you're just being general of who you're looking for, okay, I need an IT guy. Great. You're not going to get what you want and need. You're just going to get an individual who knows a little bit about programming, but he doesn't know the technology that you're working on. Or maybe he knows it, but it's his character is very, how do you say, isolated. He doesn't like to talk to people, right? He's an introvert, or maybe he's very rude. You don't need that. When you're writing a job description, you need to be clear about the type of person you want. And don't just list like what he has to be able to do. Okay. You want to list characteristics the person should have, certain behaviors that he should have, understand what trait does the company value, right? And you hire according to that. So, what is your onboard process? When doing training for a dot-com company one time, I noticed how they treated new hires and how they treated people who were leaving the company. It was funny, right? So I don't know, maybe you have this here as well. Those leaving the company got a big dinner party and they went to karaoke afterwards, right? Fun, right? Cool, yeah, right? But the incoming member, they would just show where the nearest lunch canteen was, all right? Or maybe what restaurant to go eat, et cetera, which is fine. Obviously, you get to know the guy, right? But we celebrate the team member leaving to our competition. I didn't understand that. I know that the new guy, no one knows him, but usually there's a grace or probation period when you hire them, right? So why not celebrate when he or she has passed a probation period, right? By then, they're probably, they probably know their colleagues, they're probably friends, they're already probably doing the friend stuff, having lunch together. But as a company, why doesn't the company celebrate like, hey, you made it, we welcome you, okay, come on, let's go out to dinner, we're going to have a party for you, right? But or they have to wait till they leave and then we're going to have a party for you. That doesn't make sense, right? So now if your culture is a good one, you want to keep it that way as long as possible, right? So this helps in attracting like-minded people who appreciate that culture. So certain candidates, when they come, they see you, they go, wow, they like the atmosphere. And that's almost like a recruiting tool right there, right? Candidates come in and they feel welcome, right? So it's so good that they brag about your company. They say, "Oh wow, Frank's company is so cool. The people there are so nice." Anand's company, the people are so polite. They're so spiritual, right? You know what I mean? They're so easygoing, right? But they get things done. Okay, I mean they're gonna brag about you so much. They're gonna want their friends to join the company. They want to introduce their family to your company, right? But please keep this in mind. Hire for the future, not for the present, not for the immediate position, but hire for what you need to do in the future. Okay. And we all know that sometimes hiring close friends and family can screw up the existing culture. And I think that some of us know what that's like. I mean, how many here who's heard of or maybe who has hired a relative to work for you? Okay. So, you know, a lot of things can happen, right? There's a lot of complaints. Everybody goes home, and next thing you know, you hate your relative, right? This happens a lot. So if you hire from within, make sure you're hiring for the future and not for the immediate position. Okay. If you hire from outside, don't get rushed into it. You got to be relentless. Okay. You got to, for those in HR or team leaders, please remember, recruit for the future. Okay. So developing. Now, once you got it, right? So now you got a great team, you got great recruits, you got good people. How do you keep them great? Right. So firstly, I would like to say is that you need to share a vision of what the company is about. It really helps when ships are sailing together in the same direction. And it's really inspiring to be in a company. I don't know if anybody has experienced this, but when you're in a company that you know exactly what the company stands for, where the company is headed, right? That you build a form of a camaraderie among each other, that you feel that you're in the same boat. I want to say, so for instance, okay, let's see, I'm gonna pick on someone here, right? So Agnes, can you turn on your mic?
Right.
Do you have your mic's working, your camera's working? Where's your glass of wine?
No wine today.
Oh my. Okay. So, do you live here in Malaysia, KL, let's say, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So, do you know everybody in KL?
Do you want
Do you know everybody in KL?
No, certainly not. Yeah.
Certainly not, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now when you go to, let's go, you go to Japan, right? And then you hear somebody saying, "Oh, they're speaking Bahasa, Malaysian, and they're speaking Chinese," and you turn around,
Yeah.
right? What do you do?
Feel connected?
Right, you connected. Now all of a sudden you don't know, but you're their best friend now, right?
Yeah.
right? And so right, so you're like, oh yeah, oh, so how long you been here? You start talking, and now you're exchanging numbers and WeChat, WhatsApp, right? And now
Yeah.
you're good friends. And
Yeah.
then when they tell you, oh, Agnes, I went to this restaurant the other day. Oh, the food is so good. What are you gonna do the next few days?
I'll go there
Right, you're gonna
and
go
check
try.
that
So
out.
you have a form of trust now, right?
Mm.
You have a trauma because you share the same culture, you share the same values, right? So there you build that kind of camaraderie amongst each other, and that's what we're talking about here. Okay, we're not talking about, oh, share the company vision just for the sake of. Thank you, Agnes, I appreciate it. Right? So, we don't want to share just to say, okay, this is what we're about, this is what we'll do, yada, 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 how proud I am, how good our company is. No, it's not that. It's about what the company is about, okay? Why the company exists, right? So that is the vision you want to share with your team members so that when they get on board, they are sailing in the same direction. They feel that they are part of something than just a job, and that's the important part, right? So, like we said, right, we don't know everybody, but once we know that we have the same culture, we have the same belief systems, and I don't mean religion, but the way we think, right, our ID, uh, that creates a camaraderie, that creates a a bond, okay, which is super important for companies to understand, right? And you will be surprised how effective a team that is inspired, that's clear on a vision, and they feel safe can be, right? It's like you're invincible and nothing can stop you. That energy is something that's stronger than any setback. It's stronger than any overtime. And it's even spending the night to complete a goal. No big deal. It's okay being sacrificial to for other team members, and it's not feeling like you're being taken advantage of. It's like it's your team member. People talk about, oh, our company, welcome to the family. If you're really a family, you would treat them well no matter what, right? Like our kids, we don't choose who our children are, right? But we treat them well even though they make mistakes. So why can't we do that for our colleagues if we're going to say, welcome to the family, right? So, and I hate to say this, but if you never felt like this before, I'm really sorry. I had the privilege to be part of a company with those traits, and the competition it wasn't like competition anymore. It didn't seem like we had to work to achieve something. We were just happy to be there in the same boat. Okay, at least the competition didn't matter to us. It's like, okay, they got their thing, we got ours, and we're doing good, right? We did and what we needed to do, and we had fun doing it, and it was a beautiful feeling, right? And this is what I want to share and hope that leaders can understand this, right? And a beautiful thing about it that was that sometimes we didn't even make money, we broke even, right? And this is something the competition didn't understand. He said, "Well, it don't matter. You guys are busting your ass, but then you didn't make any money. It's okay, right?" So, so when you find people, right? When you hire people, don't just, find people just for them to do things, right? Find things for people to do to grow. Besides, just their work, allow them to learn how to present when explaining things. Make an activity a learning event, right? Explain how things work, how things work, right, in the company, and why it's done this way for now. Okay, I think the only thing people do is show new team members where their desk is and tell them what to do, thinking they already know and or should know what to do. That's why we hired them. They have the skills to do that particular job. Okay, you know, mistakes happen, right? Expect mistakes. Even after you've taught them. Probably the number one fear in people is the fear of failing. Don't get too excited if someone makes a mistake. It happens, right? For all you know, you may learn something new, right? Because I know your team member will for sure. And that is what a client used to say to me. One time I had a client, he said, I tell my staff, it's okay to make mistakes, but if it gets too expensive, then I need to let you go, right? So yeah, I mean, if you have an individual who's constantly doing the same mistake over and over and over again, obviously there's something wrong here. And of course, as a leader, you need to do something, right? As a business owner, you need to act. You can't have someone constantly making the same mistakes over and over. So when you want to develop somebody, right, you want to show them. I mean, yeah, you need to show them how it's done, right? Then let them show you how they do it, right? And correct as needed. And then when you realize they learn what they had to do, then have them teach someone else how it's done. So these things we spoke about today may sound time consuming and tedious, but you can't hope for a great team. You have to build one, right? Because to build your business, you have to build your people. And like I mentioned earlier, yeah, if we had to talk about leadership, we would not have enough time. We could have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and it wouldn't be enough time. Okay. So, but you feel free to contact me if you have any information or questions you may have. And I want to thank you all again for being here for this webinar. And I look forward to any questions you have regarding leadership. Thank you very
Awesome.
much, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach D. I have a question.
Really? Just one? You
Yes,
promise?
I have a few, but here's the first one. The first
Okay.
one is, we talked. Maybe you can unshare your screen right now.
I was just about trying to
Awesome.
do that.
You talk about the whole process of building the team, right?
Right.
Maybe building it from scratch, or okay. First, let me ask you this: Is you talked about advancing on the inside and hiring from the outside, right? So, do you
Right.
think it's quicker to build a team, from the outside and bring them in, to the point where the team is firing on all cylinders, and they're doing the things that you need them to do, or is it quicker to get the people inside to change?
Well, okay. Now you're really picking on me today, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So when we talk about, let's say we talk about leadership, okay, we talk about change inside a company. Let's see. Okay, so it's like going to a gym. All right. When we go to the gym, so let's say we work out. Okay. Oh, now I can unshare my screen now.
right. I unshared you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. All right.
You like
So
that, huh, Justin? You're laughing there.
yeah, I needed the help. So okay, so we're talking about is it fast how fast a team could grow within, right? So I was saying like it's like going to the gym. So if you go to the gym half an hour a day, right?
All right.
Or if you went to the gym for 9 hours every month,
Okay.
which one would see results?
Okay. Let me clarify. Half an hour every day, half an hour a day every day for 30 days, or
Yep.
9 hours in one day
No,
over 30 days
no. Sorry. Let me say. So if you were to go to the gym 30 minutes a day,
every day.
right? So it doesn't matter how long, right? Every day you go to the gym, you might miss a day or two. It doesn't matter. You might have a cheat night. It doesn't matter. But which one would be more effective if you went to the gym 20, 30 minutes a day, or you went to the gym once a month, but every time you went, you exercise for 9 hours?
I think the 30 minutes.
Exactly. Now, you can go to the gym 20 minutes a day. You can exercise and say, look in the mirror and says, okay, I think I got some muscles. I think I lost some weight. But you know what? We won't know. We won't know exactly when the results will show, right?
Mm.
But we know it will show. So every team is very hard to say, okay? But for sure, if you were to lead 30 minutes a day, every day, then leading 9 hours every month, you will definitely see the results faster if you did it every day.
Okay. So let me
Does that
ask you
answer your
this follow
question?
up. Yes. So I'll
Okay.
ask you a follow up question. Okay.
Why? Give
Uh,
somebody else a chance, Nancy.
well,
You're just sitting
yeah,
there.
yeah. I think somebody will ask a question after this. If not, we'll pick some volunteers. I mean, victims, volunteers. After that. So, okay, let's say you build a team. So you cannot build a team. I think you cannot build a team in one day, or an effective team in one day, or 1 week. So some teams will take 1 month, some teams will take 1 year.
That's right.
Okay, maybe on the extreme, and maybe some teams will never be at 100% complete. So let's say you have a team of people right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not performing to what you expect. How long? How long do you think you need to wait before you go? You know what? All of these are, and interesting. You talk about rising to the level of incompetency. I came up with a term, I think about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all heard of cream of the crop, right?
Right.
Okay. I change it a little bit. I call it the cream of the crap.
Okay.
What it means is that you have all these low quality,
Mm-hmm.
and then some people think that, oh, I'm the best in the company, but you're actually the best of the worst. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
cream of the crap. But
Right.
anyway, so how long do you wait, and what are the signs that you're looking for before you go, all of these are crap, I gotta wipe the slate clean and start again?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris. And but again, I want to say this again, right? So it really depends on your value. Why are you in business? I
Hmm.
understand, people are in business to make money. I get it.
Right.
But if you're in the business to be able to, let's say, a meaningful objective, right? That you want to have a business to create a better society, right? And sometimes being able to create a better society, you and your people have to be better, right? They have to be better character. They need to have more integrity. Okay. So now, as a business, do you sacrifice your people for the result, or do you sacrifice the result for your people? So
Are you
there's,
are you asking me?
no, I'm just saying, right?
Oh,
So
okay,
as a
okay.
leader,
Because
we need
I
to
would tell
ask.
you the answer. I think you know
No,
the answer.
right? Exactly. So
Yeah.
again, it depends the value of your company. What are your values? What do you value? Do you value? Let's say I'm going to use kids again, right? So we don't get to choose who our kids are, right?
Right.
They are part of our family, no matter what. Now, if that is something that we value when we hire people, right? I may say, well, my people are my family, and I'm going to take care of them. If they screw up, I'm going to be very patient. I don't know. So this
Yeah.
is what every leader has to ask themselves, right?
Yeah.
They have to make these hard decisions. So if you're asking me to give you an answer, it's very difficult because every company
Yeah.
is different, every leader is different.
Yeah.
But thank you for
Yeah.
challenging
Just to let
me.
you know, you never met my mom. My mom passed away when she was 83, just
Okay.
about. She had a stroke in 1998, and I looked after her for 11 years.
Hmm.
But when I was growing up, I think I've shared with some of you that I wasn't, a good kid. And so, yeah, you said parents cannot choose their kids, but I remember my mom saying to me when I gave her like I won't mention the numerous things that I did, but she would say, if I had known you would do this, I would have drowned you in the bucket when you were this big.
Right, right. You're not your mom probably is not the only mother who said this.
Right.
Right. And then like shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? But the point
Right.
is that either way, if they knew it, they would have did it back then, but they didn't, right? And they probably could have still done it when she was like 83 years old if she wanted to,
Yeah.
right? Because we
Yeah.
wouldn't do anything, right? But of course that's just that's the saying, right? And so as a good
Right.
parent, she's not going to get rid of you, right? She's not going to
Well,
get you while you're sleeping.
right. You know, Anand, you look like you have a question. Am I guessing right, or Anand? No?
Yeah, Anand's being very shy tonight.
I know, huh?
Okay. I'm just
Okay, right?
Okay.
Justin, are you okay?
I think one of the main thing that lack in leaders nowadays is the charisma.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can't see leaders of those days in the prime, they have the charisma. No?
And why do you think that is, Anand?
First, lack of integrity.
Okay.
Okay.
Arrogance. The arrogance, I think, is a big thing, right? Anand,
No,
you think?
if you look onto Fidel Castro, a charismatic leader, he has arrogance.
Right. Okay.
But they are very clear in terms of their ideas of philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
And they always relate that to people from the heart.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
And seems that nowadays leaders are more concerned. Even though in leaderships in companies or anything, it's all about profit, go to their own pockets. As Dee says, I'm taking care of my workers. I build
So
on. Sorry.
How do we fix that, Anand? How can we start the process of fixing that?
If you look as a country, and it's time for us to say to people, we want what is it? A proven resume of individual. Okay, and that resume shows all the track records that you have walked, so that you can talk.
Okay.
Okay. The problem is nowadays people talk, and there is no walk upon the talk.
Yeah. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
And with this, you didn't have a followers.
Right.
Okay. And a leader who just walk without followers is just a leader just walking.
That's
He's
right.
just
You know what?
making a trip. You got me? A walking trip rather than.
Right.
Yeah.
Coach Lee, I'll address this real quick. We know we're not talking about any specific country right now.
For sure.
We know that. Okay. The next thing is one of the things that I realized, because I've had numerous conversations about this. In any country, in any non-specific country, it really depends on the people. It really depends on the people that are willing to, stand up and voice out.
Right.
And there are a lot of countries, no specific country, there are a lot of countries that no one I don't know if this is the right word, dares.
We don't want to
get
kicked off on Facebook. Okay?
Yeah, we don't want that. So and I think one of the discussions that I've had numerous times is that we got to look to the next generation and prepare the next generation for them to take up the mantle, for them to be able to I got to choose my words very carefully here, to stand up and voice out in a respectable democratic manner.
For sure.
Right. I think that's kind of thing that needs to be done, because I don't think I am able to do that.
Well, it's not a one-man show for sure.
Right.
But I want to see if I can address Anand's concern about
in
leaders.
a non-specific in a non-specific way. Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry, Dee.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So it's a
sorry.
Yes. Sorry, Anand.
It's not about nation, even though it's in organization.
Yes, correct.
It seems that a culture that promotion and volunteering, and I have the means to be a leader, rather than a proven and let the people decide is that you are suitable, rather than a bunch of people say that this is the right guy.
You're right.
Through the performance basis.
You're right. And
yeah.
You're right, Anand. You're totally right. And sometimes, people have to show some way to quantify why this individual had the ability to lead, right? But the problem is, I want to say two things regarding that. Number one is the dynamics of each team is different once you add on a new member, right? Does that make sense? So, you may have a great team now. So right now we have 10, 12 people here. and everything's going good. Once we add one or minus one, the dynamic of the team changes dramatically. Okay, so that's one thing that even if the guy had a good resume or the lady had a good resume, had a good track record, that doesn't mean they're going to perform well. Okay, I believe one of the CEOs from what was that company, Hewlett Packard. Okay, she was a great CEO for Hewlett Packard, but so when she left to another company, she thought she was going to succeed, but you know what? She failed. Okay, as a CEO, she did not perform. She was not able to perform because the team members were not the same as the one when she had in Hewlett Packard, right? So that you have to understand too. So having a good resume doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna perform, right? And when you talk about having characteristics, nowadays the leaders, we have to also understand that when we look at the past generation, okay, so let's say talking about the what do you call those, the Xers, okay, so the Xers, they were in a generation of people who they're about 45 years old now, right? 45, 50 years old. They're in the leadership position. So when they were in the position, they were when they were growing up, they were more into like they wanted to perform. Okay, they always wanted instant feedback. They're the first generation who said, "Yeah, please tell me how did I do?" Okay, and that's why they were able to perform in a better way, right? Whether leadership, right? They were willing to take feedback and move with it, right? So then now the new generation comes along, right? So we have millennials. Now don't forget, as the generations go by, the generation they become more selfish, right? Not selfish. I don't want to say selfish. It's more of a me kind of mindset, which is according to a author. I forgot his last name was Burns. Okay, so he's explaining that because of the generations, the way they're growing up, they have so much accessibility. They have the internet. They have a lot of information. They know a lot of things. Okay, and so with that, right? So when they become leaders, they may feel they're a little bit more better. Maybe they're a little bit more arrogant. We don't know. Okay, but as a side note, right? Actually, millennials are not that bad as people think they are. Okay, it's just that a lot of older leaders don't understand them, and therefore they don't really know how to work with them. So they feel that they're lazy, but actually, you think about it, what we spoke about before, millennials, they love that camaraderie. Okay, so if your company is not sharing your vision, you're not sharing your values, and sharing why the company is even existing, you're not going to win the hearts of these millennials. You're not going to win the hearts of these Gen Zs, okay? Because they need to feel that, and once you get them on board, then you have them, you have their hearts. All right. So a lot of people, leaders, don't understand that, especially if they're coming from a different generation. So I don't know. Did this help answer your question about character, Anand?
Yes, fine. For me, a resume is not greatest record what you have, but
Right.
yeah, but it's about the experience, that exposure, that characterizes that you are able
Right.
to
But
lead.
like we
Yeah.
mentioned before, right? Like even like Jack Welch, he was a very famous CEO for GE, right? But then when he left, he also didn't succeed as well as he did in GE, right? Now, I don't know what happened. Was it a team member issue? Was it the culture, his values did not jive with the new company? It's hard to say, right?
Maybe the
Maybe
process of
maybe an analogy is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players ever to have lived, went
Mm-hmm.
on to baseball and
Okay.
almost flopped, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Right. Exactly. Right. So, he could be good at really something, and you could see, wow, Michael Jordan, good sportsman, but actually he's a good basketball player, not necessarily a good baseball player,
Yeah,
maybe definitely not a good hockey player. Right.
yeah.
So, everybody's different. I know Frank has a question. He's been he's been holding it in. It's
Yeah, I
about to
could see it.
burst. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah.
You can read my mind, man.
I
Or it's
can
too
read
obvious to be,
everything. I
right?
can read your face. I can read your mind. You know, I can see
Okay.
right through your hair.
Okay. So so because the trend right now is like it's more on demand. That's why it's like a lot of working company that are more on like a contract stuff. That means that they need people just okay. I need people to solve the job. All right. So and that's a trend, and more people the company actually they're outsourced. All right.
Mhm.
So how this leadership can be applied in this kind of trend, because people just want things to get done, and the once the job is done, then that guy will just or that girl will just leave the company. So in that situations, is there any leadership can be applied?
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, you're right. A lot of companies are coming in, they're hiring contractors. First of all, remember this, like you said, they're hiring contractors. They're hiring people for a specific job. They're like mercenaries, right? They come, boom, get the job done, and they're gone. They're hired guns, right? They're hired soldiers. So now, can you convince hired soldiers to be loyal to you? Of course, right? But is the leadership willing to take the time, or is he saying, well, he's just temporary, they're just temporary, fine, just let them get the job done, complete the job, and that's it? Or he's going to say to you, hey, Frank, I really like the way you guys work. I love your team. You know what I mean? Please tell me a little bit about your team, right? When did you guys start? Like, what was the reason for you guys to start this team, right? And then get to know their values, get to know what they're about, And he say, hey, you know what, Frank? When we started a company for the same reasons, right? Now think about that. So now how are we relating here, right? So we're not just being a hired fire relationship, right? Now we go like, okay, wow, Frank, oh yeah, well, next time if there's a project, please, I'd love to work for you guys, right? So as a leader, you need to be able to take that step to reach out to people, right? And not just consider them and have your secretary and say, okay, yeah, get those people to get the job done. Make sure they do the checklist, they get it done by this specific timeline, or we're not going to pay them. So exactly, right? So what kind of feelings are you nurturing here, right? What kind of relationship are you creating here, right? I don't believe that just because you're a mercenary, I can't win your heart. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks, Lee.
Awesome, great.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrea, correct? We have a personal joke with Andrea. That's why it's a private joke. Correct? Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Agnes, are we okay? Awesome. Justin, I know you have a lot of questions. You're just too shy to ask them.
No, because last time I worked in an international company before. I mean, honest to say, it's a Western digital already moved to Thailand. Now, the like what you discussed just now, whether it's promote from internal or hire from outside. Actually, according to my experience, is heavily depends the skill sets that you need. Like if the
Correct.
internal staff, whoever can perform, of course, we are more than happy to promote him. And
Exactly.
if you need a new skill, if you need a new skill or new knowledge, then you are forced to hire from outside. Now,
Justin, you should be doing webinars, man.
yeah, like what Chris discussed just now, he said that how long or the time period that allowed for the new leader to engage with the new team or to train up the new skill. I mean, the time period is heavily depends the how urgent is your project. Imagine if the timeline is very constrained. Of course, we need to have few leaders to select as a backup. That means that once the new leader come in, you need to have a second backup.
You're right. You're
If
right,
really
Justin.
no choice, we need to ask the leader who cannot perform to go to leave.
That's right. Now, we can do that. We can do that. We can hire and then we can fire.
Yes.
But if that's the case, why don't we do what Frank just said and hire outside contractors?
Yes.
right?
Like what you discussed just now, like example, today Frank worked for us. Now after probation period, we confirm Frank have passing the probation period. But for company point of view, since I pay you salary, you can perform. Is you just your payroll. Why I want to celebrate for you? This is Malaysian culture. I
Okay.
mean,
You know what? It happens everywhere, Justin. Okay,
yes.
it happens everywhere, right?
I mean,
It
I
doesn't
feel
matter
sad
what
to.
country. It's
Yes,
not.
yes.
This is not country based. All right. Now, see that this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I hire you. You just got to do your job. So
Yes.
the relationship that you are creating with your employees, with your team members, you're not creating that bond.
Yes.
Again,
Agree.
if you're not touching their heart, you cannot touch their abilities.
Yes. Agree.
If they are following from, if you're leading from a position of authority, of or a position, you're not going to get 100% from them. It's just that simple, right?
Yes.
So until you can learn to be able to lead, and this is why leadership is so important,
Yes. Yes.
right?
I strongly agree. That is
Right.
the reason we should appreciate or have a party like what you say for people whoever passed through the probation, but should feel sorry, feel sad for whoever resign and leave us, but not go to
Mhm.
celebrate to sing karaoke or what. I just curious what we are doing now.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually,
I mean, yeah,
oh, can I just add to something Justin said?
of course.
My
Yes,
company in
please.
Malaysia, we started in 2011, 2012. Now, granted, the largest number of staff that I have, including myself, was 21 or 22. One of the things that I realized was a little bit different is that we needed to connect a little more with the team members here.
Hmm.
Okay, so exactly what like Coach D said. Of course, when someone leaves, of course I'm sad unless they're the cream of the
Crap.
crap, right? Then we go for dinner, then we celebrate, but I'm celebrating,
Right.
right? But every new person that comes in, if they last one day with me, the next day the whole company goes for lunch. We go in like two or three cars and we go for lunch.
Right.
It's like if you can take me for one day, you'll probably stay with me for years.
Hmm.
Now I've let people go in a day, contract no contract, I don't give a damn. Okay,
Right.
so
Okay.
what we did was we celebrated them coming in. We would go for
Right.
burgers, dim sum, Thai food, whatever it was.
Can you
It
hire
got to the
me
point, yeah.
just for one
We
day?
got to the point, yeah. If you can last one day, D, I'll ask you questions all day long. So
Okay.
it got to the point here where my team was asking me, "Hey boss, are we gonna hire somebody new next week?"
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So just to let you know, Justin, we've been doing that almost 10 years, and I know some companies that do that. I do.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I know in Asia, I won't say where we used to do training, um, the expats and the national staff would not hang out with each other. Okay, and we had expats from different countries, right? And what happened was even the expats from different countries would hang out in their little group, hang out, and then other ones from another country will hang out in their little group. And literally what you do is you create silos, right? And they become cultural silos, right? Because you're here, you're this kind of person, or you're from this country, you're from that country, and that's not healthy. So as a leader, they need to be able to notice things like that, and they have to do something like that, or else you start creating a lot of friction. So you can imagine how much it costs to fire and rehire someone. You can imagine how it costs to hire an expat and try to find someone to replace them, right? Okay, so it wasn't easy, but it's something that has to be done. You may not like the food that the other group has or likes, okay, but you have to be able to be open, right? And have be very kind-hearted, be strategic about it, not to offend people. Okay.
Did that kind of
Okay.
answer your question, Justin? Awesome.
Thank you, Justin.
Does anybody else have any questions for Coach D this evening?
Nancy wants to know what we're going to be barbecuing next.
Okay.
Actually, just now I have a question, but then Chris.
Oh, go ahead.
But you have already answered. I mean, you have already asked the.
Because I
It's
can
like.
read your mind, Nancy.
Yeah, see?
But just so everybody knows I'm right. Your question was, can you repeat it for us again?
No, I was just like because there are people that they how to say they always like to be like passive, and even though they might have the ability to become a leader, like what Coach D said, everybody can be a leader because as long as you are the parents, then you are the leader. So maybe they are just lack of confidence, and then so they don't want to step up or speak up, voice up, or anything. So if let's say there are this kind of people, how can we help them?
Oh, that's a great question. And anybody has any ideas to answer this? I'm more than welcome to give you the floor.
Last time
The answer
actually,
very simple. Hire D.
I like that one, Frank.
actually,
Yes.
according to my experience, because last time actually, the top period I have actually more than 36 technicians is under me. So as you know that definitely some people not happy with their salary, their allowance, whatever facilities they have now. Now, according to my experience, is some people be more passive. They don't want to lead. They say that, hey, you want me to lead the team? Can, no problem. You pay me according to the salary that I entitled. That means that today, if I ask him to perform like a senior technician, although he is technician, I ask him to perform like a senior technician. They will say, you pay me senior technician salary first lah, before I perform as a senior technician. But
Yep.
I will say their mindset is wrong already. You should perform as a senior technician first to tell me that you are entitled before I really promote you. Then secondly, some people may facing some problems. So I will answer. Then she said that you need to identify actually what is their needs and what they really think. If they take your company or position as a stepping stone, that means that they're doing something outside or plan something outside, take your position or your company as a stepping stone, please don't waste time on this kind of people. Just ask him to leave or let him go. But
Okay.
whoever people you really can see the potential, but he is not happy, you really need to find out why they're not happy. Because of whatever they voice out be ignored, or the technician you assign to them cannot tolerate with him, or what you need to identify their needs.
For sure. Correct. Right. So before we mentioned that we should be able to understand what the needs that motivates our team members. Right. So to answer Nancy's question, she says like, okay, now you want to ask like, how do you get people to have more confidence? Right. Okay.
Yeah, this is one of it.
Right. So what I believe Chris agrees with me very strongly is just do it. Okay. All right. So we talked about just now. We talked about developing our people, right? Right, Nancy.
Yep.
Right. So when we talk about develop, we don't want to hire people just for them to do something, right? We want to help them grow. So if you feel that this person has a lot of good qualities, they have a good character, they can be a good leader, right? So how do we help them develop them? We give them opportunities to lead.
What if he or she don't want to lead?
It doesn't matter. You don't tell them, I want you to lead this, because you don't have to tell them, say, I want you to lead this group, right? You say, Nancy, can you do me a favor? They need help over there. Do you think you can, guide them a little bit? Right? You're not leading them. You're not telling them to be a leader. You're just saying, help them out, assist them. See, you're coming from a different angle, right? Now, once you go there, you start talking to them, they feel comfortable. They go, okay, yeah, they do it. Now you start building a little bit more confidence, right? So, that are listening to you. Will there be some issues that come up? Of course there will be, right? But that's the only way you're going to learn, right? That's the only way you're going to build confidence. I think a lot of people, you know, especially parents, nobody had a book or was born to be a parent, right? But when it happens, we have to step up, right? But if you want to slowly help somebody step up, so for in my case, if I want to help my, let's say, my children to be better parents, I would say take care of your little brother and sister, right? I don't say be a parent. I would say, please, listen, mommy and daddy wants to go out for dinner. You know, can you just watch your kids for a little, watch your sisters for a little, brothers and sisters for a little while? You know, okay, fine. You know, are you gonna pay me? Are you gonna increase my allowance? He goes, no, you do us a favor, will you? You know, I go, fine, right? And you know, they do it once. Like my son, when you know, because my daughter's younger than him, so we would start by just going out for dinner, very close by, right? So they would stay home and they would fight, right? You know, they do brothers and sister things, they would fight. And then we come home, of course, we talk about it, explain things to them, right? So next time we'll go a little bit further, right? So, you know, I think one time from here, we went to Penang for 2 days, right? And it was cool, right? So they were able to handle it. They made dinner, they cleaned up after themselves, you know, they were good. Now, did I say be a good parent? No. I say, hey, do me a favor, watch your little sister, right? So, you know, that's how we would want to do it. You don't want to just push them into the role. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
very
Coach
yes.
D,
Thank you.
Yes.
I divined a question from Frank.
You divine.
Frank, yeah, I read Frank's mind, and his question is, to hire the right people is whose responsibility in the company?
Okay, that's a good question. You know what?
Did I read your mind, Frank? Okay.
You read the writing, right?
Yeah.
Actually, who's responsible? So, who's going to be responsible? Again, if HR is doing your hiring, then the team that needs that individual needs to be very, very specific of what they're hiring for, what kind of character they're looking for, and they have to be sure that when they look for someone to hire, you're hiring for the future, right? You're not just hiring a secretary now. You're hoping that this secretary will become part of admin in the future, right? You know, you hopefully that she's going to be able to handle other things when she, you know, as she grows older or she stays has more tenure in the company, and then you're going to hire maybe a younger individual to be the person at the front desk, right? So you know that. So depending on your department, because HR only hires what the group, the department asked her or them to hire, right? So you need to be able to give the proper description of what and who and how you want to hire them. Does that help? Did I answer the mind reading question correctly, Chris?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask, is Jessie here?
Jesse's here
I know. Well, she's
somewhere.
here, but she's
Yes,
not
I'm here. I'm
here.
here.
Hi, Jessie. Have any
Hi.
questions? You're so quiet.
I'm with the kids actually. Sorry, that's why I didn't turn the video on. Yep,
Oh,
I'm listening.
okay.
Pretty true that HR, because I felt that in the industry itself, in the MNC especially, uh when we hire people, we often get like a blame if we are not hiring the right person. But
Yep.
even though we wanted to hire the person to do future stuff,
Hmm.
but if the bosses will want to just hiring for the sake of short term, at any time, especially during this MCO, they may want to just hire for temporary, and then probably over probation, when they doesn't need them, they will just say that it's retrenchments and stuff like that to
Hmm.
save costs. So it's also pretty challenging at this time of the year.
Well, I thank you, Jesse, for your input. And one, yes, it's challenging too. Let me ask you something. Even as HR, how does that make you feel, having a boss like that?
I would feel a bit I mean, it's totally not right, in terms of HR point of view, because it would definitely I mean, it's not fair for the employee as well.
Hmm.
So I mean, we do address to the bosses, but if that's what he want, then we have to at first address to them the possibility of getting to the court, the IR issues.
Hmm.
But if that's what they want, we will just still have to follow because it's an employment anyway.
Of course.
So you have to highlight to them that that would be a problem in future.
Mhm.
So that's all that we can do. So we are in the middle, you know,
Yes,
not here,
for
not
sure.
there. It's not easy.
No, well, yeah, and Jesse is talking from a point of from a law point of view, right? You know, but if you hire and fire people, then you have to worry about litigations and things like that, or the individual suing you. But even coming from a conscience, your conscience as a company, as a part of society, okay, you know, you have a lot of issues there as well, right? So again, it comes down to the leader. What kind of company? Why is your company here? What's your company meaning? What's the purpose of your company, right? You know, it's the same thing when we raise our family, right? What kind of children you want to grow up, raise? What kind of children, habits and attitudes and character you want them to have, right? It's the same thing. So, you know, in the company, right, Jesse, you're just talking about the law perspective, but how does it make you feel as an individual? Do you feel safe in this company?
Of course, I don't feel safe because I feel that there's no, a good direction.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, once you get into the job, you have to, something like, you have to adapt to the leader for sure, unless you are getting another job. So it's
Yep.
also, it's a dilemma actually, whereby you want that job, and then you feel that you can, do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if your leader is not as what you expect, then it's a bit challenging in terms of communication.
Yes, for sure,
Mhm.
Jesse. And I
Yeah.
think we just mentioned about that when it comes to about, you know, why people have a job. Sometimes people have a job just to stay there temporarily, just maybe because they need income, or, you know, or maybe they're just waiting for something better to come along because they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel safe, they're not happy at the existing company.
Yeah. So at the same time, your input will be very different. If you have a better leader that have
Right.
more better vision.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jesse. I hope the kids are okay. We're not taking too much from them.
Hey, no worries. They
Yeah.
are busy in cooking.
Yeah, don't tell them to drown it in a bucket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I hope they're learning how to
parenting.
be good leaders.
Yeah, learning to
That's
parent
good.
the kids also is another leadership thing to do there.
Right, for sure. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Jesse.
no worries.
Okay, guys.
Do we do we have any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, no,
D, can
yes.
I? Yeah.
Anand, go ahead.
Yeah. D, if you don't mind, because the term of leader and manager always misconstrued
Yes.
and defined in different ways in companies.
Yes.
Okay. May your opinion. Okay.
My opinion.
Second, that is
Okay.
first. Second is if you see currently the rate of ratio of CEO changeable
Mm-hmm.
and higher management changeable.
You
And
mean turnovers when you
yeah,
say
turnovers.
changeable?
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And there is lack of retainment program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This shows there is lack of understanding the core fundamental of in company, which is sustainable leadership. You're
Right.
not talking about leadership. You're talking about sustainable leadership
Okay.
and how you should build up from the base of the company itself.
Okay.
Okay, and the idea of bringing external thing, fair enough, but how
Mm-hmm.
you build up a sustainable leadership through the base, where you have, you cannot run away from the DNA of the company or the
Right.
DNA of the founder, because this
Uh,
is culture. Okay,
that's fine.
okay,
Yep.
and the
Totally
third
okay.
one, and the third
Third
one,
one. Okay. I need to get a note and pad.
yeah, last one, the last one, third one, last.
Okay.
Okay, back to Nancy, which is how a person from introvert to be an extrovert. I feel that if the management in meetings where they give the person clarity of empowerment first, okay, then ownership, whatever task that you given, then you have the modern, maybe Western style of brainstorming, and then the presentation of your ideas, of your jobs and everything. Then a person within the team of introvert can be extrovert.
Okay.
It's
Well,
just
thank
the
you for that.
processes how you take it.
Okay.
And
Well,
I feel that if this implies my own experience,
well, we
it
look
does
forward
work.
to your future webinar when you come up with one. Please let us know. We'd love to watch it.
No, I'm not learning. I'm just sharing and what.
Yeah,
and I'm
and those are good points. Yeah. Now,
That's all.
when you talk
Thank you,
about,
Anand.
sorry.
Oh, no, I just say thank you, Anand.
Fine. It's just throwing ideas. Yeah.
Okay, so the first question was management and leadership, right? In actuality, when you talk about leadership, management is part of leadership, but it depends what kind of manager he wants to be. Okay, so as a manager, he also can be a good leader, right? At the same time, making sure processes are being followed to accomplish a goal, right? So maybe, and you know what? Being a manager, he's in a very, very difficult position. As Jesse said, he's like right in the middle. Okay. So as a manager, he has to perform, but yet he has to make sure that his people are happy. Now, he could be a manager that says, listen, don't do as I do, just do as I say, right? Just get the job done. He'll probably get it done. The people won't be giving you their 100%. They're not going to like him. You're going to have a lot of turnovers, right? Okay. Now, if he was using a leadership style, which he's reaching out, willing to touch the heart before he touches their abilities, he's willing to get to know them, he's willing to spend some time with them, then the role kind of changes, right? It kind of morphs in from a manager into a leader. Now the people below him want to follow him. They like him, right? They formed a bond with him. They have an understanding. They have shared values. They have shared understanding of the workplace. So it's a little bit different. So a manager has a choice of what he wants to become. He wants to be just a mean manager, or he wants to become a leader, right? Yes, Justin.
Dick, can I share something?
Of course, please.
Yeah, for me, isn't it? Leadership is more like you create influence power to attract your team to like you. So whatever you share to them, they will all out, they will fully support you. For management, isn't it? It's more like a company HR authorize you a power to manage the team. Actually, the team just follow the instruction because of the power of the organization. That means that whatever you tell them to do, like what they say, they do they something like do just more. I mean, just enough will not do extra for you.
Right.
That's why I mean influence power and I mean the leader and the management both you need to align to each other. That means that in as a manager you have the management power, but you need to create your influence power at the same times. That means that you use the authority power from the company to manage those people who don't want to perform. Then you use your influence power to attract those people who really want to perform or help them to build their dream. So they will follow instruction, they will follow wherever you go, but not like a manager. Once you leave the company, they will say goodbye to you. They not even say goodbye to you. They will celebrate because you are leaving.
Right. So okay, so this is the same thing Anand was mentioning about character earlier, right? You want to be able to have character to influence people and things like that. Now, again, does this manager have a choice? See, what you mentioned before made a good point. He managed the people, right? You cannot manage the people. You can manage things. You can manage your time, right? But you cannot manage people. So does this manager have a choice?
Not really.
Really?
Not really.
So you're saying that this manager does not have a choice to become a better person, to connect with his team members better.
No, what I mean is like what you say, you can manage the time, manage the budget, whatever, but you cannot manage people. Like what my opinion is, you need to build your influence power so you can manage, so-called manage your teams At the same time, you use your management skill to manage the budget, the time, and others.
Right. So yeah, basically what you're saying, if correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, is that leadership has to have both, right?
Yes.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Okay. And just to get back before we end, and just to get back to Anand's question when he talks about how to rectify a sustainable leadership of a company, right? So again, I would go back to again the place of this is what we would consider a corrosive culture. Is that right, Anand?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a company that the hierarchy is already corrupt, how long do you think that company is going to last? Right? So unless the leaders above have taken feedback, have got that feedback and realized, wait a minute, something's not right here. Our company is falling apart, right? We're not getting the right people, we're not producing, we're not selling, we're not doing anything. If they don't if they continue like that, they're going to close up anyway. And hopefully they learn from that, like I did, right? But what if they were to get feedback and they say, okay, wait a minute, you guys need to change? That's why a lot of people hire consultants, right? They hire consultants, they hire people. They say, what is wrong with our company? And what consultants do is they go in there and they find out, wait a minute, you guys are idiots. Okay, you have a lot of good people, but they don't respect you, they don't like you. Okay, so until the leader's willing to change, once the consultant tells them what the problem is, then maybe that's when they need to hire a coach, right? That's when they need to say like, okay, how can I change, right? So that's where they may hire external help, okay? Because internally you hire somebody, your staff is not going to trust them. They're gonna and they're not in a position to say anything to the boss because they're afraid of losing their job. So most of the time, an external consultant or coach would come in to deal with things like that. Does that answer your question, Anand?
Yeah.
Cool, great.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for your questions, guys. I know we're a little bit over time, and
Yeah.
I apologize for that. If there's not any more questions, we can call it an evening.
Okay, so any final questions from anyone? While you're thinking about that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare to end the Facebook Live.
Okay.
And Jesse, I know you said that you have some things going on with the kids, but just take a group picture. Is it okay to put your video on? If not, it's okay.
Yeah, hold on.
Andrea,
Let
yeah,
me
just
get
for a
a
few seconds.
correct spot.
Push them away. Andrea, are
Okay.
you still
Make sure
there?
you wipe the
Andrea?
stains off your shirt, from all the spilled milk and stuff like that.
Yeah. If you want, you can wear mask.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just need to
Okay.
tidy up my hair. Yeah, okay, hold on.
Okay. Andrea, are you still there? Andrea?
Okay, you see me?
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, we can see you. Andrea, we're going to take a picture now. I took some pictures earlier. We'll take one serious one now. Everyone look serious. Everyone try to look like Anand. Okay, awesome. Okay, on the count of three, give me the greatest, biggest smile that you can for this evening. On the count of three, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then the last one, we can do a thumbs up, we can do a peace sign, we can do that love sign. Young people like Nancy and me, we do the love sign. Nancy,
Hey,
you and me, young.
too.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a
Okay,
lot
on the
young
count of
people,
three,
yeah.
on the count of three, everyone else is older than me and Nancy. And on the count of three, 1, 2, 3.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach D. I want to
Thank
give
you,
everyone
guys.
a hand for being here on this session this evening.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
You're welcome. And we appreciate the questions, the sincerity in the comments, and the sharing. Nancy, just to let you know, you probably will not know this right now, just on this interaction, but I'm an extreme introvert. Extreme.
Hmm.
I cannot talk for days if I don't want to. In fact, I prefer not to. Okay, so this is a side of me that is not natural. The introvert side of me, no, I'm just very shy and very quiet. So, whatever it is, the introvert, if your reason to rise is strong enough, it can be done. The motivation has to be right.
Thank you, Jesse.
Okay. So, Coach D, do you have any final words for this session before we end it tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you everybody for taking the time out to hang out with us today, and please be safe, okay, and don't do anything that I would do, okay.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you,
a lot,
Dee.
but
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
guys.
Chris. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Chris.
okay.
And
Good night, everyone.
we're gonna have to do
one more thing. Just one more thing. I forgot to mention this. This is the final session in this series. But Coach D and myself, we're getting together and we're going to figure out what the next series will be. And I think all of you are in touch with Coach D in some shape, way, or form. Let him know because we're researching what we're going to do. I have my own series. It's on Friday. It has to do with sales and marketing. Maybe I'll send out some information on that. And then if you're not in a sales and marketing role, maybe you can share it with some of the people in your company that are in a sales and marketing role. In fact, I think this Friday, it's about cold calling and how to do successful cold calling.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're all
Uh,
everybody's a salesman, everybody's a leader.
It's 10 a.m. Andrea, Friday morning.
Uh-oh,
I'll send it out. I'll send out the notice.
you just lost them when you said 10 a.m. in the morning.
I know, huh?
It's a time to do a cold call.
Yeah. Oh, just to let you know, I cold call almost every day myself for at
150,000,
least.
right, Chris?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that on Friday. But I'll send out some notifications on that to everyone. Sorry to interrupt, Coach D. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I just wanted to wish everybody, be safe, that's all. Okay. Have a good evening.
Sorry,
Right.
Chris.
Thank you.
Chris,
Ah, yes, Justin.
actually for me, isn't it, cold call is not my major concerns. Actually,
Right.
for most of the time, the appointment that have made through cold call, last minute they didn't turn up. Or
The reason,
I hope you can have this discussion on this coming Friday.
sure, I can actually just tell you, mention this. It's because you didn't make yourself unforgettable, and you didn't make the next step valuable for them. And so there's one question that we ask when we set the appointment that I'll share that on Friday. There's one question that I ask that will tell me whether they're going to show up or not.
Okay, I wish
And
to know.
I'll share.
I like to know.
I'll share what that is. So I'll send out the notifications, and then if you want to join, please go ahead and join us. If, like I said, if you're not in sales or not in marketing, give it to your sales and marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I believe everyone should know how to cold call because even if you're calling for an interview, calling for vendors and
Calling
things
for a
like that.
date.
Well, yeah, that one you need. You know what? We're recording this, yeah, Coach D. I'm gonna
Okay.
send this to Selena later. Okay. Okay. I'll send you my bank account later, and then we'll have our discussion. Okay. So
So
I hope to
Nancy,
see. I
go
hope
ahead,
to see you all on
Chris, go ahead.
Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Coach D, for sharing the information. I think this was a very useful, interesting series of 5 sessions.
I hope so.
We do things a little bit different. We want to give value. On this session, we didn't sell anything. On the session on Friday, I will mention it'll take less than 30 seconds. Sell me this pen, right? I'll take less than 30, 45 seconds to mention products that we have. But 95 to 98% of the sessions, especially that I do, it's all content and it's all quality. I don't buy into the, you need to hype up and you need to get this now. It's 10,000. Today it's 200. I don't do that shit. I don't do that stuff.
Facebook live now.
Yeah. So I don't do that.
We're being
I don't do that.
recorded.
Right. Oh, I'm recording. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll edit it out later. So when we do things, yeah, we give value because there's a much deeper connection, and that's exactly why Coach D and I are doing this series, and we'll do more because we need all the help that we can get especially after last year. All the cliches were, oh, we're gonna have a better year this year. You know what? What's the difference? There's no difference between December 31st and January 1st, except the number change, right? If you don't change, you're gonna have a shitty year this year, just like you did last year.
Amen.
If you don't change. Okay, so Coach D and I know Coach D does. I attend at least 3 to 4 sessions a week, and I learn and I gather. Even before 2020, I'm attending seminars and programs, and I've been doing this, and this is my industry for 20 years, and I still go and learn, because at the very least, I learn what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's right.
so I want to thank everyone for participating, giving feedback. I feel very close to you all, as if we should have a cup of coffee really, really soon, but
That's
not
what I
yet.
was saying. Yep.
Okay, not yet. And I'm so glad that I know Coach D, and through Coach D I met Andrea. Thank you for being friends, Andrea, Coach D.
Correct.
And then I feel that everyone here is friends as well, except maybe Frank. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Frank.
Nancy, can you tell if
No
Chris is he considers himself an introvert, so he's a pretty good leader, right?
This is the first time that
Okay.
yeah, I met
Very
him.
honest answer.
Yeah.
For sure, I can see he has a lot of experience that are you in the HR, Chris?
Oh God, no.
You're not selling, you're not communicating right, Chris. She still doesn't know what you do.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. No, what I just
He-
briefly what I do is I actually run several businesses, but what concerns us right now is that I specialize in sales and marketing training, and we do sales and marketing programs for companies online and offline. That's what I do, and I've been doing that as a company for actually since 1998,
Oh.
which is interesting because I was born just a few years earlier than 1998.
Okay.
Okay. Good night,
Okay.
Anand. You have to go, right?
Okay, good night, Anand. Thank you so much for.
Okay.
But yeah, really can't wait for the next meetup.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. We look forward to
All
seeing
right.
you guys.
Okay. D, can you hang out for like 1 or 2 minutes when we're done here? Good night,
Sure.
everybody. Thank you so much for
night.
for
Good
joining
night,
us.
Jesse.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, thanks.
Good night,
Good night,
guys.
everybody. Good night.
Bye.